Artist and photographer Wissam al-Badri's family fled his home country of Iraq at the start of the Gulf War. That experience has shaped much of his work, which focuses on capturing human struggle with dignity and love. Tonight he shares his brief but spectacular take.
I always want to depict people beautiful as possible, right? If I'm doing documentary, if I'm doing my art, it's like the Arabs. If you Google anything about Arab, it's just always with a gun, being violent, or being abusive, right? Like we could never look beautiful. And to me, that didn't sit well. I was born in Nasiriyah, Iraq in 1984. I remember as a child, like I was sitting outside our house and you hear the jets flying over bombing the Iraqi military. Then you hear a few minutes later, the Iraqi military bombing the civilians. My grandmother screaming at my mom, you need to get your kids out of the city. You need to get your kids out of the city. There was blood all over the streets. Like that was my first introduction to people dying and death, is that I thought they're going to sleep. My sister, she was about close to 2 weeks old. She was born and we had to flee. And I had to carry my other brother on my back, and my other brother carried the other one, and my mom had to carry my newborn sister and my other sibling. And we walked for 4 days in the rain, mud and rain, to get to safety. We were living in the middle of a desert with nothing. There was no tents, there was no water. Then after that, we got to move inland and inland over time. We stayed 4.5 years there. Our name was picked in a lottery, and we ended up moving to the Midwest in the United States, Lincoln, Nebraska, and that's where I grew up. When we first moved here in '94, I was about to start 6th grade, and we lived in this low-income housing unit. But to me, it was beautiful. And I cannot explain it to you when you have a good night's sleep. There's something people don't understand, like having running water and a good night's sleep, like it just changes a lot. I picked up a camera in a refugee camp. That was my first introduction to a camera. For the longest time, I didn't have film, but people entertained the idea of this little kid trying to escape this reality. We really don't talk about our experience. Like when we sit around, we joke, we laugh, we fight, but we don't talk about that time in our life, like as if it never existed. I think we feel ashamed of it. I'm not a unique case. I'm one who got a camera and got a mic to speak out about it. Like my whole belief is like, if I went through it, why can't I help other people? My main 2 personal projects have to deal with my family history and who we are and how did we get here. And going from that is I'm doing my Arabs in America, like what does it mean to be in Arab America? And basically is like everybody's included, right? Trans and queer Arab communities. I want to tell these stories. I want to show up to places and work with people and meet people where they're at. Seeing yourself as beautiful, it can start a healing process. And that's what I want to strive to do in my work. My name is Wissam al-Badri. This is my brief but spectacular take on how refugees are beautiful.
And as always, you can watch more brief but spectacular videos online at pbs.org/newshour/brief.